Welcome back. It's still Morning Rush on Metro Television. So climate change has led to heavier rainfall and extreme floods in certain places, and it's important that we maintain our solid waste properly, hence the usage of dustbins and also avoiding dumping trash everywhere. And this morning we are going to talk about maintaining cleanliness in our homes and also our community. And we have a lady who is no stranger to the set, Madam Emma Adjoa Apia Oseidia. She is the Director of Communications and also Corporate Affairs at the Zoom Lion. And also I have James Deku, who is also with the Communications Office. Good morning and welcome to Morning Rush.
Yeah, good morning.
It's good to see you. Auntie Emma, it's good to see you. I always say I'll come and visit her, but I don't. This year, I have changed. Okay?
I'm expecting you.
Okay. So before we start talking about waste management, I know time and time, Zoom Lion embarks on these public educations, trying to tell the public how to maintain their dustbin, the usage of dustbin, and also how to avoid trashing everywhere. We are trying to put an end to dumping trash everywhere. How effective has this been over the years?
Okay, good morning, Nana, and good morning to your viewers. It is very important that we really understand the basics of this solid waste management, proper scientific management, right from the storage to the collection, transportation, and then treatment and the final disposal. We have identified one of the weakest links to be the storage of waste, because it's that waste that when not stored well will end up or being disposed at unauthorized places. So it is very important we understand the role we play as citizens in our various homes and communities. In our various homes, it is a mandate on us to ensure, and per the assembly laws and then other sanitary laws, we are supposed to store waste in a standard, waste bin. The problem has been that people really don't get that particular aspect of the waste management chain. So immediately that basic foundation, that is storing the waste in a container, is missing, then the whole waste indiscriminate dumping and all these waste you see around becomes a problem. So for us, we think it's very important people understand that key role that they are supposed to play when it comes to proper waste management of waste, because it's a shared responsibility. So when you see waste somewhere, there are a lot of factors that may contribute to that indiscriminate dumping, and one of those things has to be the fact that you don't have a waste bin, or probably you don't store your waste either in your home or in your community. Sometimes you go to other public places such as market and then a lorry station, you see some of these Zoom Lion containers are there. A lot of people may even see but decide to put the waste along the streets and the curbs, and it's a problem. So our target is to ensure that people understand that particular role that they are supposed to play, that is storing waste in their homes, and any community that they find themselves, they ensure that the waste is stored properly so we can come for them and manage.
And over the years, it's been effective. They are understanding their awareness, the importance of actually using waste bins.
I think progressively, when we started, it was quite difficult. We had to do a lot of public education to even make people accept the fact that put the waste in a waste bin. People were adopting other crude ways of managing waste. Either they dig somewhere and then bury them, or probably they just find a bush somewhere and they throw their waste. So it is waste. They don't really care what happens to them, so they just find somewhere to do. So when we started, it was quite difficult, people accepting the waste bin. And the fact that people even accepting that they have to even pay for the collection of the waste. It was something people mind was not on, but consistent public education is better than before. And we are hoping that some of these programs let people know that this basic thing, we should go back to them to make sure we store waste properly. And then the waste contractor will effectively come and then transport it to the right place for treatment.
That's good. Auntie Emma, we're in the raining season, and some places are getting extremely flooded due to the fact that they are dumping trash everywhere. How can we manage this whole situation in this raining season?
Thank you very much, Nanaya. Deku has said it all, but the other side of it is for us to realize that it's a shared responsibility, and we need to go back to the communal way of doing things. I need to watch your back as you watch mine. And one very important thing that I would want to bring to the fore here is to learn as a generator of waste to reduce the waste that we generate. And you may ask, how do I do this?
Yeah.
When we go to the markets and we are able to go with our old bags, we are reducing waste.
Okay.
Because if I walk barehanded to the market, definitely I'm going to buy a new bag.
Exactly.
And if you look at your storage or in that corner where you stuff them, you have 1,001 of them. So when you're going, carry one clean one there and then fill it with your stuff. When you come home, then 10 of them that you would have brought anew is not brought.
Yeah.
So you've reduced waste
Exactly.
by a certain small volume.
True.
And with those bits and pieces, we are reducing it by volumes. The generation point, when you're cooking and you decide that you will reduce the volume of waste that you are generating, it is very possible. Because if I look at the way we cook, the kind of food that we cook in our kitchen, the waste that we generate, most of it is degradable. So why don't I get a place where I will put those so that it can degrade, and then I use it to plant stuff in a lorry tire, in my small veranda, in a small container. You may ask, how far will that one go? As you do that, you build a culture. And your children will learn, your neighbors will learn.
Yeah.
Planting that small aloe vera plant in that small container of waste that you created. You have done a lot.
Yeah.
And we need to do reuse. I always say that reuse and the circular economy thing that we talk about started long ago. Why? You wear your pair of flip-flops and you leave it and your kid brother carries on until it finally gets done. And during our time, when it gets done, we even cut it into pieces for a doormat.
Yeah.
So we actually make it spend its lifetime and it continues in another material.
Cycle continues.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if we are able to look at the collective attitude and go back to that, when you are dumping trash, you are careful because someone is going to get you.
Yeah.
This morning, as early as I hit the road, I saw food packaging. And you could see that the person deliberately dropped it in the dark. You could get money to buy that food in that package, at least 70 cedis. And you cannot pay for waste collection at least 40 cedis, which is not even the realistic fee. You get it?
Yeah.
So many a time we are doing stuff and we relegate waste management to the background. And in this rainy season, if we continue doing that, we'll be shooting ourselves in the foot.
Yeah. 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 You know what? Auntie Emma said something very vital. Right now, in the urban areas, in the rural areas, we could get the recycling of, I go to the market, I peel certain things so I can just throw it at the back of my garden and then try to make something good out of it. Now, you come to the rural areas, the urban areas now, everybody is using tiles. They are tiling the whole compound. They are, they are not even giving room for these things to be recycled. For such situations, how do you go about it?
Yes, I think it's very important. Madam mentioned very key point that should be regular practices if we are looking at what we claim sustainable waste management practices or what we do as people. For climate purposes, and especially in the rainy season, it becomes quite difficult if we don't have a lot of green spaces that are supposed to soak some of this running of water. So you have virtually tiled your compound. So what that means is that whenever it rains, the rain will be gushing out and then the soil will not be able to soak the rain very well because you will not develop any green space or grow any grass that is supposed to contain that running water. So what happens is that the water begin to run off from your homes and start entering people's homes. So these are some of the practices that brings about flood. And sometimes in this rainy season, we keep drawing people's mind to that fact that some of these practices generally is what is contributing to all these flood problems that we are having. So it is very important that people begin to think secular.
True.
And in thinking secular, you also should think sustainable. And in thinking sustainably, what is it that you are supposed to do? Sometimes you even go to the market, you realize that virtually everything is tied in plastic for you, right from the black quality to the oil you buy, sometimes they tie it, the tomatoes you buy, they tie. So you come home, you realize that a lot of plastics just from one transaction you went to do in the market. So these plastics also don't degrade. Like you said, in the village, you have more of the organics, or people will even buy in the leaves. So these materials easily decompose. But in the urban areas, this thing don't happen. We prefer to virtually buy everything in plastic and all that. And that has become a problem. A problem because you see some of this plastic choking the drainage systems that when it rains, it's supposed to contain the rainwater to effectively manage the flooding situation. And if you have a lot of plastic clogging this drainage system, it becomes difficult because the drain is supposed to hold water, and if the plastic is paving or blocking its way, it will find its ways into your home, our homes, our shops, and all that. So it's very important as people will begin to think long term and see the long term effect of these little things that we do, that we overlook them. So I think practices such as making sure that you even get a basket to the market so that everything can be in it. So you don't have to go and then get plastic virtually in everything. When you do that, you are causing a lot of problems to the environment.
Back on when the days, people used to like take baskets to the market, but now it's not really as effective. Now, when the gutters are choked, even sometimes the sand actually gets into it and actually it chokes, and it doesn't bring a clean community. What are the steps that people can contribute to ensure that we have this culture of cleanliness in the environment, no matter where we find ourselves, even if you're in the market, in our homes, or our community at large?
Yes, Madam mentioned earlier on that let's live in that communal sense that we used to have. Gone are those days that people in the neighborhood can even decide to come out to clean their specific environments. And it is very important that people accept that if for nothing at all, if there is any drainage in front of your home or any drainage system, organize people within that community on that road or street so you can desilt some of these drains. It's very important. Why do we say this? We say this because it is this particular rainwater that may end up even flooding your own home. So we need to come back to that communal way of making sure that we don't say, now everybody wake up, take their car key, they just leave. People don't even get to even associate like they used to be. But now we are seeing some changes. People are coming out with this organized keep fit. It's either a keep fit group within the area and all that. We are also drawing their mind to the fact that in as much as you are trying to keep your physical body fit, try and also consider organizing your community members along the fact that you should be responsible for your frontages. You should be able to clean your frontage. Take that step, and those little steps. If I drain any or I desilt any drain in front of my house, and you call it do same, that means that any rainwater that drain will collect, it will finally find its way to the right place. But sometimes we also understand that some of these problems come from the fact that some drains are not really well paved. Or so when the water rush through them, it ends up gathering a lot of sand. So when they get to a bigger drain that is well concreted and paved, you realize that this sand becomes a blockade. And so we have always talked about the fact that regularly desilt your drains. Especially in this rainy season, we should take steps to desilt our drains so that when the rainwater is collected within the drain, it can travel and then join the bigger drain for safe lifestyle. Other than that, issues of flooding will still be happening.
You know, how do you handle situations where individuals decide not to go with the cleanliness guidance? I mean, you visit them in their communities, you tell them they are supposed to do A, B, C, D, and maybe you go back a month or 2 or 3, it's not being adhesive, like they are not paying attention to what the instructions are. What do you do in such situations?
You see, Nanaya, with people like that, we of Zoomline do not have the mandate to sanction them. The best we can do to augment the job that we do to help give a positive impact on the community is what we are doing right now. And some other projects that we have that helps the environmental health officers to get their jobs, do the rounds.
Yeah.
So we cannot arrest them, we cannot sanction them, but we have the environmental sanitation courts.
Okay.
That when the health officers, the environmental health officers go around, they do what they have to do with them and then send them to those places. But one wonderful thing God created is that in this world, our environment caters for itself. And the impact, the positive impact of your actions on the environment is there for you to see, same as the negative impact. As we are polluting everywhere, we are generating a lot of waste and we are careless about handling the waste. We get to pollute our waters. Right now, the rains are coming and unmanaged waste will descend from the mountains through circle. I'm just using Accra, join the river bodies. And in the long term, fish will not be available for you and I. We are saying that in the villages it is better. It is not better. I was surprised to see a vast land in the Upper West region full of plastic bags. They are just flying and hanging on the shrubs like that. So I got alarmed. I was like, what are we doing to our community? This is a community that should be very clean of at least plastics. But because it comes in handy for us, this is what we are doing.
Yeah.
And I wish you could give me a cane to whip, but that is not possible. So we are here and we are encouraging everybody who is watching and will hear us from any other medium to at least pay attention to what we are saying and many others that they hear. Now I've heard that other organizations have prepared something like sermons on environmental management, and I think World Vision is also well advanced in that.
Yeah.
The Church of Pentecost is well advanced in that. Let us listen to those sermons. Let us listen to those talks when they come around us. If it is that we have forgotten, then we know. Because we don't have to get stagnant waters around our areas. But today, if you look at the potholes around our communities, you look at the gully erosion on roads that are in front of people's homes. I get worried because, why? Waste has been packed into the place where water is supposed to pass.
True.
And water will find its own way anyway. Once the gutters are blocked, where do you expect the water to pass? Or the water should stand there with? It will go over, find its way into your room, my room, anywhere and everywhere.
Exactly.
And that is why we are here, pleading literally that let us manage our waste appropriately. Now, if you ask me, how is it about you, the contractors? It is about us because you have engaged us to work with you.
True.
Now, if you are not willing to pay, let alone to pay the realistic fees, how do you get us running 24/7?
Yes.
So along the line, I may get a breakdown and I'm stuck. And you will not understand. You should understand that when the agreement is not running, it is not a pain for you alone. It is for both parties. But unfortunately, when the waste is running over in my house, then I go shouting. You get it?
Yeah.
So from generation to reduce the waste generation, to learn how to reuse and to learn how to recycle in our own small way will help us. Then we should also be willing to pay the realistic fees. Then we are also empowered to fix everything in place and hit the ground running without breaks. That way we are fine. My only fear is that there are still people who have decided, whether deliberately or otherwise, not to be involved in waste management at all. But you cannot do that because whether you like it or yes, you are a generator.
Exactly.
You will generate 0.5 to 0.74 every day, and you are saying you will manage that waste yourself appropriately. Who should do that for?
And Auntie Emma, when they don't want to be part of it, what do they resort to? Is it that they are burning their own rubbish?
Now, the reason why I'm saying that is we have placed, as a people, not Zoomlion, as a people, we have placed waste bins at appropriate places, significant places, to support people who are moving about, travelers, strangers who come in, because it is supposed that you have a bin in your house, you're managing the one you generate in your house, but when you come out, so those ones were put in place to ensure that we capture those ones. And those bins are missing. In fact, they walked away, I suspect. Now, people have decided, I live in a low-income area, I cannot afford a bin, but I don't have the time to walk to a central container. So you see people walking early morning with plastic bags. It's not a handbag. If you follow them, they will go a little bit, find some small bush around, and they put it there as if they are picking something and will be back. You come back in the evening and it is there. This is a deliberate attempt not to be involved in waste management. But with that, the next minute when it rains, the runoffs will pull that one and choke the gutter.
True.
Then the place will flood, the water will swell, and your beautiful home will turn into something else. We are not saying people shouldn't pave their compounds. But when you're doing that, for the sake of sustainability, leave some pouches that can get water going down, so that the volume that will travel into the drains will go down, will reduce. It is the speed and the volume that pushes everything, and when it gets to a comfortable place, it sits there, and then it runs over, you see. So if we have that in place, making sure that we want to do the driveway, yes, but the other sides we leave it for water to go in, it is fine. And we can also, in place of putting the tiles and the concrete, we can use gravels. So that as the gravels take off the dust, the residue of the dust that will go into our room to soil our carpets, it still allows for seepage of the water when it rains. So let us focus on managing it.
I mean, the education has been very effective this morning. Really appreciate you guys for coming in. Any final words you want to touch on, because we are wrapping up?
Yes, Madam mentioned a very good point, especially to the fact that the law enforcement is also really key on this whole waste management practices. People even forget that even throwing rubbish onto the street is a crime. If you look at section 296 of the Criminal Offences Act, you can be punished. You pay a fine or even go to prison, or both, if you should dispose of your refuse indiscriminately on the street or anywhere. So we are also calling on the law enforcement agency to make sure that they enforce the laws as we have in our books, so that people can be coerced to do the right thing. And I think if that is also done, together with what Zoomlion have invested in a lot of infrastructure, like you know, we are now turning waste into other reusable products, and that has been a huge investment by the private sector and all that. And we are encouraging other stakeholders within the waste management chain to play their key, enforce the laws, make sure people do the right thing, and together we shall have clean communities. Thank
you very much, James Deku, and also Madam Emma. Madam Emma is the Director of Communications and also Corporate Affairs at Zoomlion, and also James Deku, who is also with the communications team. And this morning we're talking about maintaining cleanliness in our homes and communities in this rainy season, and they've said a lot, and we need to adhere to that.